the reality? What's the reality?
Welcome back to What's the Reality? I'm so happy to have you guys here. But before we jump in, I want to thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart for all of your love and support that you guys have been pouring onto me for this podcast. I am so very grateful. I would really appreciate if you guys keep supporting me by subscribing on YouTube. It's the easiest and the free way to support your girl. So get on that. Today, I am so excited. I have a very special guest. Sabrina Zohar is here. She is a relationship expert, entrepreneur, and straight up truth teller when it comes to love and dating. She also happens to be a big Love is Blind fan, and we just can't wait to dive into the show. So welcome to the podcast, Sabrina.
I am so excited to be here, and I couldn't think of anyone better to be here with than you. So thank you for having me.
Of course. Welcome. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what inspired you to become a relationship expert.
Totally. So relationship dating coach. I have a podcast called The Sabrina Zohar Show, and we really talk about anxiety, right? And I think I try to stay away from, oh, are you this attachment or that? It's like, no, you're a human. If you're struggling, come on in. And for me, I was that girl. I was the girl that I have ADHD, so I always felt like I talk really fast. I speak like this. Is there something wrong with me? And I had so much just trauma and childhood, and I kept dating the same types of people, and I kept finding myself, I kept finding myself repeating the same patterns over and over again. And so it was this 2022. I one day was like, I know there's got to be people out there that are struggling like I am. And I started creating content, and I started just talking about there's got to be something more than what we're seeing on the internet, and creating my own echo chamber, if you will, of really doing the work, understanding how to heal and understanding how to get to a place where you love yourself enough to either walk away or walk towards what's for you. And so I was the girl that needed it, and I created it out of, my mom always says, invention or necessity is the mother of invention.
Yes.
And that was me.
Yes. And now look at you.
And now here we are.
So I want to just kind of dive into it. What is the most common mistake people make when they're looking for love?
I think the biggest mistake and the most common mistake that I see is that a lot of people are self-abandoning.
Yes.
And we're doing that, and we all have done it, right? And so none of this is about shame or blame, but I think a lot of us don't realize that when you're dysregulated, when your nervous system is feeling like it needs to protect you, and your brain starts to go, all the fun stuff that happens when you're going in that space, we end up thinking we have no choices. And so we'll self-abandon, saying, I just need to keep them around. Let me do whatever I can to get them to choose me. What can I do to get them to like me? But then at the end of what ends up happening is you lose yourself. And then you feel like you have so much more work and things that you need to do in order to get back home to yourself, instead of standing in that truth, which is something that I've seen you do, girl. And that's exactly how you get to where you are. And it's hard, but when you stop self-abandoning and when you finally choose yourself, your whole life is going to change. And I think that's where it starts, is that I get everyday people asking, what do I do?
Yeah.
Because I don't think they realize that you actually know within your heart and your gut what to do. We just have to learn how to listen to that voice.
Yeah, that is so true, because it's like, do you choose yourself or do you choose love? Like, especially if you're a lover girl. I'm a lover girl, and I'm just like, oh, I can choose me after I pick you and all of your flaws and your red flags. And I'm like, okay. But it's just like you lose yourself trying to find love. That is one of the hardest things that I've realized. Like, and then the person that is meant to love you will love you when you choose yourself.
100%.
The more you stand in your truth is what I'm learning.
The only way someone's going to fall in love with you is when you let them.
Yeah.
Right? So your partner now, imagine if you showed up to him being the other version, being this girl, being the cool girl that never has any needs, and she's so whatever.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden you get in the relationship and you're a human. You have needs, you have wants, you have desires. And then that other person saying, well, I don't have the bandwidth for this. I didn't sign up for this.
Right.
So if you can authentically show up as yourself from the beginning, you actually can let people choose you for who you are, but it starts with yourself. Because if I'm scared of being rejected for who I am, how can I ever let anybody else in?
Right. Is it too late to call my fiance and get him here to sit?
Right over
get a
here.
little advice. Honey, how do you define a healthy relationship in today's landscape?
It's a great question. I think on paper, what would it be? Like, oh, you're happy and you're successful. To me, what I think a healthy and secure relationship is not the absence of conflict, it's the presence of connection. And I think when we look for, do you feel safe? Do you feel seen, heard, and understood by your partner? Do you feel like when we have conflict, we have repair? Do you feel like this person actually hears you and comprehends what you're saying, and that you can actually get through what it is that you're getting through? To me, that makes a healthy relationship. Because I'm curious, even with your relationship that you're in, when you have conflict, do you feel safe to go to your partner and have a conversation?
Girl, we getting there.
Right?
We are getting there because that is something that it was like we didn't have conflict when we first met. Who has conflict? Everything is fake. You're just cute and you're in a bubble. But we are getting to the point where it's like, honey, you need to sit down and we need to chat. And it's not easy by any stretch of the word, but we're finding like we're coming out of these conflicts better.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we kind of thrive. We're like, I said the other day, I was like, I can't wait to make up after this one. Like, I'm looking forward to the makeup.
Yeah.
Where it was like before, I was just like, we're never going to get through this. We're going to fight about the same thing in a week. But now we're just like, all right, I'll see you in 20 minutes when you calm down.
Well, I love that you're learning how to love each other, right? Because you're attuning to each other's needs.
Yeah.
Hey, you need 20 minutes? Okay, I'm going to go for 20. We'll come back. We will finish this. And oftentimes, I don't know about you, but at least for me, when I have those moments with my partner, my personal experience is, oh God, if you open your mouth, you're going to lose them. Because my dad would always leave or was dismissive.
Yeah.
And so I used to go to my partner kind of like a scared cat of like, if I just, like for a second could have your attention, it's totally
Not a
cool.
big deal, not a big
no
deal.
big deal. Like,
Yeah.
I'm fine. I'm good. I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
And now when I go to him, I'm like, hey, I know that we need to have this conversation because one, my little, right, that inner child, the little girl in there that's never felt she could finally gets seen. And I get to protect her and I get to be there. And then after it, I also get to reaffirm to myself that this isn't scary. This is safe and that someone genuinely loves me is going to see me, even though it's really painful for that to happen. So I'm actually really happy to hear that you guys are going through it and not around it because that right there is how you guys are going to have a healthy and successful relationship.
We're doing our best. It's not fun. I can't lie. It's not fun.
What's the hardest part for you?
I don't like, I can be very combative and like my attitude immediately, like if you say something I don't like, immediately my face, you'll see it on my face, my body language, I don't want to talk. And so I try to like not bring up issues because I don't want to be combative. So I kind of hide in that like, we'll get there when we get there. But by the time we get to the argument, I'm 12 issues deep. And he's like, whoa, relax. So right now it's just kind of saying things in the moment is what we're kind of working on. And then him being able to receive, I think is a big one.
It is. And if I can give you even a tidbit, something that's really helpful in those moments is like a couple of things. One, so it sounds like what happens is you get dysregulated and that's totally normal.
Sure do.
Something happens, your body is like, whoop, nope, this isn't safe. And then your partner has no idea, right? That's that dynamic. So for you even, it's just about even stopping and being like, whoa, okay, where are the sensations in my body? And how old do I feel? When you can start back to like, how old do I feel right now? Am I the AD that is the adult, that is the woman that is talking to her partner? Or do I feel like I'm talking to my mom, my dad, my kid, whatever? And then the other thing for your partner, really, really helpful is to ask, hey, can I share something with you? If you ask for consent in the moment and have like a code word, my partner and I do, to avoid resentment, I need to share this. And we know when I hear that, that means what's going on, there's something happening. And it's just a code you two can have of like, hey, can I share something with you? We'll know your partner will say, hey, what's going on? I need to be present. Because then if he can't, he can say, babe, give me 20. Okay, thank you so much. I'll go for a walk. I'll come back. But at least asking for consent takes that for then your partner doesn't feel like they're being attacked or cornered. They feel like you're actually having a conversation with them. Not to say that you would do any of the others.
No, I would. Okay.
You're like, no, but really.
No, I like that. I'm gonna try to implement that because I think the give and take is really where, because we're still pretty new, still pretty fresh. So we're just trying to find what works. And we've already talked about like code words and chill, like taking breaks and doing our, and now we just moved to LA. So we have like, there's a lot. And it's just like, now he's learning pick your battles because he is a nitpicker. And I'll be like, we can go there because I'm ready. But I think now he's learning, like, I'll literally see him go and walk away. I'm like, good. Because I was ready to fight. You're like, I was ready. Yeah.
And something that even in the moments, my partner did that. I had the other day where I'm very similar, where I'm like, I wanted to go and he wanted to retreat. And I took a deep breath and he even said, I want to thank you for taking the time to be patient with me. He was like, I've seen that you're not coming at me. And he's like, and I want you to know that that means a lot.
Yeah.
So even just not only talking to your partner when things are bad, but also when they're good. Of like, hey, babe, can I say thank you for doing that? I heard that exhale. I know that you're trying to regulate, and I appreciate that you and I didn't get into something silly.
He gets a lot of thank yous these days.
Good.
He's so cute.
But that's right now, what you're describing is a healthy relationship. It's not the absence of all of those aspects. It's the connection you guys you consistently come back to, but we're a team.
Yeah.
How can we come back together?
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
It's beautiful.
Healthy. I love that for me. Took a while.
But you know what? Progress, not perfection. How would you know how to receive this if you didn't know what else you didn't want?
Right.
Girl, I married my father many moons ago. I was with a narcissist who broke me down into a million pieces, and it's the best thing that ever happened to me. I wouldn't change it for the world because I wouldn't be sitting in front of you.
Right.
I would never know otherwise.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't change anything. Okay, so we know you're a big fan of Love is Blind. You've actually gone viral more than a few times for your videos where you break down the show and call out relationship patterns and behaviors you see playing out on the screen.
Love is Blind Season 6 is the exact epitome of people thinking they're ready for a relationship and realizing they're fucking not. This season is a goddamn hot mess, and I am so fucking here for it.
As a fan of Love is Blind, what relationship dynamics do you see play out over and over again that just drive you absolutely insane?
I love this show so much, but I do have to, and you're someone who's on it, so you know the other side of it. I think that the dynamics that I see consistently are a lot of people are chasing a feeling. You're walking in, essentially, you've got like 15 Hinge dates, just back to back, right? You're just going from person to person to person. Yeah. Everyone's selling themselves, everyone's coming off. And what I notice is, where's the processing? Where's the time to stop and be like, wait a minute, what did that person tell me? Do I actually everything is happening so quickly that I feel like so many, and it happens, I think, naturally based on the show, chasing a feeling of like, oh my God, did they just say that they like this? Done. Check. And then all of a sudden we're enamored by this person and we're forcing this intimacy that wasn't actually laid as a foundation. Because when you're spending, a week? Talking to somebody, and then all of a sudden you're like, are we going to do this or not? 8 days, whatever it is, right? However much time you're in the pods. I don't actually think that there's time for you to be cognizant and aware of like, how does this manifest in my body? How do I feel when I'm with them? Are they being rude to the waiters? I can't tell. I'm just seeing this person in a very small petri dish of a version. And I think that's just consistently over and over is either like...
Are you saying like the pod specifically?
Yeah, the pod specifically has been building up to that. I see so many people that are not necessarily checking in with themselves and more just excited about the opportunity, which is so real. But then I don't actually think that's connection.
Yeah, so interesting because... obviously from my POV, who spent a considerable amount of time in the pods, like the way the connection is formed is actually insane. Yeah. It is actually the most insane thing. And you're right. Like I watched one of your videos where you were talking about there's a lot of like trauma dumping and you try to avoid it, but there's really not much you can do when you're talking to a wall and someone's like, oh, my dog died. You're like, mine too. And now you spend the next 4 hours in the pod crying about your dead dog instead of being like, so who'd you vote for? Right. You know, like, what are your morals?
Exactly. And that's fantasy, right?
Yeah.
And it's so natural, to your point. It's not like anybody's doing anything right or wrong. Yeah. It's the nature of the beast that it's like texting every day. If you text somebody morning, noon, and night, chatty, what's going to happen? You're going to inevitably run out of things to say. So you're going to start moving into really personal, or if someone says, my father passed, oh my God, mine did. And next thing you know, you're talking about childhood trauma for 3 hours and you feel so connected. But again, that might be in the moment. I would never discredit the connection that you feel, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to translate to the real world, because the biggest thing I see as well is that you're not really triggered. How can you be? You could be triggered to a certain extent. Hey, what did you just say to me? But you're not triggered by the outside world. Did someone cut you off? Right? Did somebody say something rude and your partner comes to you after someone? What are we seeing? How are we seeing this person in different environments? And I think we miss that.
Yeah, I would love to see you in the pods. Like, I would love to see this, like...
Do you imagine?
Because you think, like, and not to take away from this, but I think, like, you feel so empowered on the outside. Like, if I got in those pods, I would be so... And then you get in there and you're just like, pick me, choose me, love me. Because you go on the show if you do have the good intentions of wanting to be married and start a family. So you go in so wholeheartedly and loving and open that you're just like, that person on the other side of the wall wants to get married. That person wants to marry me. So all of that logic
Out the window.
Out the window.
Girl, it's the same even, I would argue to 100% is like when you're dating and the dating apps, right? You're in there and you're like, my intentions are pure.
Yeah.
I really want this. You're so excited. And that's so real because who doesn't want love? Who doesn't want that about us story?
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to go and talk to a wall for a few days and on the other side is your person? It's magical, it's mystical. But I think what happens is it preys so much on the hope and the pray and that, but then it doesn't take care of the heart and the soul on the other side of it.
For sure. It is a very isolating experience, even though you're surrounded by friends and potential like dating people, but like it is very isolating and it's just you and your thoughts. And the beautiful thing is some people really lean into it and they're still married till this day.
And I love that.
And I think that's one of the most powerful things. And I think that's what made me go onto the show because I was like, this could work. If you're open, you're vulnerable, and that person is open and vulnerable and you're bonding on something real, it could work. Unfortunately, that's not all of our stories, but I do feel so like, I don't know, intrigued to see how you would be.
Lord knows. I know. I think about that. But, I think the part that would confuse me the most is, of course, you're dealing with the pods and but what would struggle with me is when you go back into the group and like you don't know who likes who. And so you're like, can I trust you? Can I not? I'm telling you about this guy, but if you're telling me something, what are the intentions? It's like, oh God, I want to give so many people a hug because I'm like, oh, I wish I could be there to be like, hey, I hope you know that wasn't appropriate what he said.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But like that person just told 6 women the same thing. I wish you knew, but it's like, that's dating. Dating really shows us that, do I trust myself to be able to discern? And I think you did that so beautifully on your season was like, you did your goddamn best to trust yourself.
Oh, thank you.
Even though you don't know, right?
Yeah.
We can see it. We're on the other side. Of course I can say, how could she not?
Right.
But you did everything you could to listen to your gut and your soul and show up in the ways that you could.
Thank you. In one of your videos, you said,
That show is an exemplification that just because you think you want something doesn't actually mean that you are ready for what you think you're ready for. And you won't know that until you go out, you date, and you get fucking triggered.
can you walk us through that statement?
Oh, absolutely. I hear this. So that's why I hate the saying, if he wanted to, he would. Right. And I get it. I understand on paper the point of it. But when we look at the psychology, the minutia, when you really understand, be like, wait, can we talk about what this means? I could want something all day, but that doesn't mean I have the bandwidth, the tools, or the actual chops in order to show up. And I think you've seen enough people on the show, whether it be on the show or out of the show, that will say, I want a relationship and I'm ready and I'm all these things. And then the second there's a trigger, the second someone says something they don't like, all of a sudden it's, no, I found the ick. I don't like them anymore.
Yeah.
Never mind. They're too whatever. No, I don't think they're the right match, because that's actually a protector part. And so if we're going to go back, like the psychology of it, I love parts work. It's IFS. It's like internal family systems. It's a part of therapy. And what that shows us is a part of me feels this, a part of me feels that. So that's parts work. When you get triggered, you get dysregulated, something happens, you think you want something, and then you show up and there is this person, there is AD, this magical creature that I've said all of my life I want. If I don't genuinely believe that I'm ready for that, if I don't genuinely believe that I'm deserving of that, if I haven't done the work, then all of those protector parts are going to come out and sabotage.
Yeah.
And so you see this, we see it every day. Oh, I want this relationship, but I met the perfect person. I met the one for me. No, I found an ick. Never mind. It's too healthy. It's boring.
Yeah, ick culture is insane.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Ick, like, no, I'm sorry, a Velcro wallet, not enough of a reason to stop dating somebody, right? So
It is icky though. A Velcro wallet is insane.
It is. It's icky, but can it change?
It might be a deal breaker for me. You're on a date, he's like, shh.
with the chain too.
With the chain, that's a deal breaker.
I would have to ask, I'd be like, what comes with it, right? Because then I'd
Is
be
there a
like,
black card in there?
because if there's a black and you're like, okay, I'll overlook it, versus, oh, you have a Velcro wallet. Are you Arrested Development? Are you Peter Pan? Have you not grown up?
Is it full of gift cards?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're like, there's coupons in
Questions.
it. That's a different story because we want to look at what comes with it.
Right.
But I think the reason I say is because I think a lot of people, to your point, you show up to Love is Blind with the best of intentions. I'm here to find love. And for some people, they can push through that. When you've gone to therapy, when you understand the tools that you need, you know you were in that position of, you said something, I might want to run right now, but I'm going to sit here and talk to you about it. Now, for a lot of people, they don't have that.
Yeah.
And so I see that it's this, just like a lot of it being a Peter Pan, kind of this perpetual state of, I say I want something, and then when I get it, I don't know what to do with it. It's like, because you might not actually be ready to receive it.
Not ready for it, yeah. That's so powerful. That's so true.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
When I met my partner, I was freaking out.
Yeah.
The whole time I was like, there's something wrong with him. And my mom's like, yeah, is it that he's nice to you? Is it that he cares about you? Is it that he shows up for you? And I had to stop and go, oh, this discomfort I feel is actually what safety feels like. And I've never felt that. And so, but if I didn't have the tools, I would have been like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I want the relationship,
Yeah.
but here's what I'm getting.
Right.
Well, what are my patterns?
That is a deep dive.
Oh, girl.
Yeah.
I will spare a lot of us before I go in further and being like, so now that we talked about patterns, but it's true. Our brain and our nervous system are designed to keep you safe. They're not designed to keep you grow.
Yeah.
So if you're not designed to help me grow and you only want to keep me safe, well, then I need to know how to trick the system.
Whew, I need a notepad. That's so good. So you recently did some commentary about Love is Blind season 8. And you said,
Love is Blind season 8 is a great example of love bombing and oversharing early on in the dating phase.
and that this creates a sense of false intimacy. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
So kind of what we were talking about when you're like, oh my God, I want to name 3 kids this, and I want to have this, and I want to have this. We create a false sense of intimacy because you think you're closer to this person than you actually are. To your point, you're in this pod for hours. And it's the same as like, I go back to the texting. You're a chatty Cathy, right? For the people that are not in pods. You are consistently just oversharing, because oftentimes for a lot of us, and this is not out of malice, we'll overshare to create a quicker connection, right? If I can just tell you everything, you see me, you accept me, you understand me. But for a lot of people, that's overwhelming. They don't know what to do with it. And so when we create a false sense of intimacy, we can't be surprised when it doesn't work out. You're a total shell of a human.
Yeah.
You're spiraling, you're ruminating, you don't know what's going on. And oftentimes what that actually does is, like, we're going to get a little deeper, that hits that core wound that you are too much. And so when we share and we do and we connect about all those things, and then somebody doesn't want something from us after that, it can feel like, what's wrong with me? Am I too much? Was I not good enough? Did I do this? Did I do that? And it hits that core wound. Because when you know how to pace yourself and you know saying, hey, as lovely as that sounds, like my partner, for instance, when we first met, I asked him something about his sister. Or I asked him about his tattoo. I apologize. Unbeknownst to me, that tattoo was because his sister took his life, and that was his memorial tattoo for her. And on the date, he said that. He said, I don't want to get too further into it, but the reason I have that is because my sister passed away. We talked about it briefly, and he said, but I'd like to share about that with you more when I know you a little bit better. Boundary, loved it, great. I said, no worries. That doesn't happen when you're trauma dumping and you're doing all this. We don't set boundaries to then see how the other person responds. And it's so important to be able to say, no, that doesn't work for me, or I don't feel comfortable sharing that, because then you can see the reality of what does that other person do with it.
Yeah.
And like you said, you go in being empowered and thinking, and then when you're in there, you're like, yay,
Yeah.
pick me. This is amazing.
It does give pick me. Yeah.
How does it, and I would say as a human, how could it not?
Yeah.
If there was a wall right now and you were telling me how amazing I was and how amazing, and you're telling me everything I've always wanted to hear that maybe I don't believe about myself, that's going to be intoxicating.
And it's also that component of competition, because it's not just one guy and one girl in a pod, or, like when you get into the real world, if you're lucky, it is just you and that guy. But on the show, you're kind of in the back of your head, like, some people are like, I don't even want him. I just don't want to lose him. And we'll sabotage it for other people. Or it's like, I don't want her, but I want all the guys to know that I got her. And now I don't know, it's a weird cycle.
It's those intentions like we were talking about of who do you trust. And I think if you can only trust yourself, it's like, to me, that sounds like Hinge all over again, right? That's Tinder, where you're like, oh, this guy's dating 15 other women. You're like, yeah, that's LA, right? We'll just go out in the wild. But I think to that point is like, if you know who you are and you know that the connection is something real, then like all of that shininess isn't going to take away who you are. And if that's not the connection, then that's not the connection. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with me.
Yeah, no, I love that. A lot of people that were like, I don't know if I could talk about this, but a lot of people that were not like, even, you know how you watch the show and you see in the lounge and you're like, how come I didn't see this girl's date and that girl's date and that girl's date? It's a lot of very powerful women that are like, this ain't for me. Like, it looks like they're just there kind of like as bots, but they're actually people that are that self-aware, that are like, a lot of my homegirls from my season were like that. They were like, oh no, this is weird, or he's not for me. And they stood so firm in it, and they're like, I gotta go. And I think there's a lot that we don't see in the background of women and people. And I'm not saying that those of us that chose to go forward and get engaged weren't choosing ourselves, but you could see it, and a little bit more of the people that kind of were like, no, I'm not gonna compete, or no, I'm not gonna love bomb, or no. And so I think what you're saying, I saw both versions. I saw people that love bomb and like trauma connected, and then I saw people that were like, No, I'm good.
Unsubscribe.
Yeah, I'm head out.
My issue is the people that go on there with the malice of intentions. It really
that's really hurtful and it's very harmful.
incredibly so.
Yeah, and we've seen it play out time after time, season after season. It's very unfortunate.
Or then you find out after, you're like, Trevor, you had a girlfriend when you went into the show? Like, what are we doing here, dude?
The expose after like the show airs is insane. That's
It
kind of
is.
like becoming my favorite part. Is like I love watching the show, but the tea that unravels after is becoming the real drama.
Except I will say, this last season, they stiffed us. Where was the sister? Where was the sister that kept saying all of the things that he shouldn't be with? Where was the sister? Bring her. Give me the receipts.
Where's the sister? We need the sister.
We do. Because it's true. I want to know, like you said, I don't see all of it.
Yeah.
And I think you, even on your season, you handled the reunion so beautifully, with so much grace and so much elegance. Given everything that you went through, I don't think you could have handled it anymore.
Oh, goodness. Thank you. I don't think I blacked that whole thing out. I don't even know what I said.
Fair. Well, you handled it beautifully.
Yeah,
So for
thank
whatever you did, keep it up.
Thank you. Okay, let's dive into some iconic Love is Blind moments. I want you to give us your expert hot takes. Break this down, kind of like therapist style.
Okay.
So for anybody that's listening or watching, I want y'all's hot takes as well. Tell me what you feel about each of these moments down below in the comments. Okay, Devin.
Okay.
And this is him not opening up to Virginia about his views.
Yes.
So this is from season 8. Obviously, my girl Virginia, and we actually spoke about this here on the podcast. But
Awesome.
this is the scene where Virginia and Devin are in bed, and Virginia is pushing him to talk about his views, and he was being very avoidant. And she just said, "Care to comment or no?" What are your thoughts when you watch that? If someone is avoiding tough conversations, is that like a red flag?
It's a red flag in the sense where I don't like to villainize like, oh, if they're avoidant, run. It's like my partner's a little bit more avoidant. He shuts down, but that doesn't mean he's running from conversations. It's just how he learned to handle things. What Devin exemplified was there wasn't an eagerness of actually getting through a conversation.
Yeah.
Sure, it's one thing to be like, hey, this makes me uncomfortable. I don't really know what to say here. But he just, yep. Especially with the topics given what they were talking about. That's first date shit.
Yeah.
And I know people might be listening. What do you say that on the first date? Yo. Talk about hard shit on the first date.
Yeah.
Because I asked my partner, how'd your last relationship end and what did it teach you about yourself? I don't care about her. I didn't ask about her. What are your political affiliations? Because I don't want to waste my time. If someone is going to dodge like what he did of just like, yep, and her being like, care to comment? Again, one thing if he says, I apologize, I'm trying to get my thoughts together. Could you give me a second? Sure. Fine. But there was no willingness to engage in deeper conversations. And if you don't have vulnerability and if you don't have transparency and you don't have someone that's willing to have hard conversations, you and your partner wouldn't be together.
Right. I even asked her, I was like, did you like ask that question again off camera? She said, yeah. And I said, did you get any answers? She said, no.
Because when someone's not giving you clarity,
Yeah.
if there's a difference, again, I'm confused because I haven't asked. Okay, different story than I'm confused because after I asked, they still didn't give me any understanding. Well, then stop engaging with people because what he sounds like, he's emotionally unavailable. He doesn't, he's
not letting you in.
He's not letting you in because he's terrified by that question because of whatever his shit is. I don't really care. But that's where I have to look and say, if I can't even talk to you about basic things like what are your political affiliations or how do you view abortion, whatever. I don't care where you're at. How do you view it? How are we going to have tough conversations?
Right.
You're going to run away every time. You're going to need 7 to 10 business days to get me a response. Like we're never going to make progress.
Yeah, and that was obvious. And I'm glad she picked up on that because my biggest fear, I swore up and down she was going to say yes at the altar.
I know.
I swore and I was so proud. Like normally I can predict. I can be like, oh, they're going to say no. I thought she was going to get up there and be like, yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people look at his response as like, oh, whatever, we don't need to have those conversations, but they don't really look at the reading in between the lines of like what you were describing earlier, that when you and your partner have a problem, you're like, hey, we have to talk about it. Okay, let's take a few. Could you imagine if every time you went to your partner now, he would just walk off or be like, I don't know.
Yeah, he could keep walking.
Exactly. You'd be like, we wouldn't be here. This ring wouldn't be on my hand.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you need a lot more. That's why it's like you need a lot more than love to be compatible. You need comprehension.
Okay, that's really good. So this one is Hannah. Uh-oh.
Did I give it away? Sorry. I don't have a great poker face. We'll go on.
Hannah creating a red flags list outlining Nick's flaws. So this was from season 7 when Hannah created a list of things she didn't like about Nick. And unfortunately, he found the list while they were in Mexico. Is this a healthy tactic to figure out if your person is the right person? And do we think she left it out for him to find it on purpose?
it felt a little too, oh no, my list just so happened to be there. I would love to ask her, how would you feel to read that? How would you feel that the person that you think likes you can't fucking stand the sound of your voice, can't stand the way you look, can't stand the way you talk? My question to her is, then what are you doing with him?
Yeah.
You're so on this entitled high horse of like, I'm going to list out all of these icks, but nothing to stop and go, but what do I like about this person? What do I like? I am so here, if you're not sure how you feel about somebody, to write a list just to understand, like, what do I genuinely like? And my whole thing is, instead of writing like a pros and cons list, maybe start to ask yourself, what are 3 things I enjoy about being in this person's company? Are they adding to my day, or do I feel depleted when I'm with them? Do I care about things that they talk about? Take stock, right? Of course you want to take stock. We all do that. Do I like them? Am I just, I felt the way that she did it, and I felt her icks were just inappropriate. I felt there was like this mean girl. It didn't feel like an accident. It felt like malice. Now, you can think whatever you want about him. I don't know the guy. He didn't seem like a bad person. He seemed like he was performative, and he was really trying to get people to like him because he was insecure. And I totally get that. And I felt like she played on that insecurity. And I think it's one thing to take stock for yourself, write it in your phone, text a friend, hey, I just don't know if we're jiving. Can you help me kind of challenge this? But I think writing that kind of ick list or this red flag list, I'd love to know, like, what facts do you have to quantify those flags? Where did you get those red flags from? And are they actually red flags, or are you just, I hate to say it, but like, are you just being an asshole who's just being super picky because this person's not doing everything you want?
Yeah, I would be devastated if I found something like that. Like, devastated. Like, pros and cons, I could understand someone trying to like, but a list of icks of why, a list of red flags about me, that would shatter me.
I see one comment on the internet that people don't like me. I'm like, that's it. I'm done. Let alone the person that I'm trying to give my heart to. You find out you don't like. And then the worst part is you didn't talk to me about it.
Yeah.
You have all these issues with me. Fine. Kick rocks without shoes. I really don't care. But come talk to me. Have a conversation of like, hey, I need you to know these are things that bother me about you. And then at the same token, then what are you doing with me if you don't like anything about me?
Yeah, that's tough.
Right?
Yeah. And then it's like, how long have you been harboring these feelings? Because now I feel like shit.
I had that. I dated a guy, the guy before I met my partner, and we had some issues in the intimacy department. And one night I tried to talk to him about it, and he didn't like that. And all of a sudden he goes, I've been thinking about this he said for the last 4 minutes. And when he went to the bathroom, and he goes, I think it's that I'm just not physically attracted to you anymore. And I was like, wait, what? I'm sorry, what? And he just goes on, he's like, you're beautiful, don't get me wrong, but I really don't like how long your hair, like just literally listing everything he doesn't like. And then I was like, oh. And he goes, but you know what, maybe that's not it. And I said, oh, it's not?
Oh.
What could it be then?
Well,
he goes,
now that I'm in pieces.
right. And I was like, oh, so it's not my looks. He goes, no, I think it's your personality. And I was like,
This is getting better.
Oh,
better.
I was like, oh, okay, so you can't. He's like,
You hate me.
You hate me, everything. And the funny part was when I was about to leave, he goes, wait, no, I didn't mean we're ending it. And I was like, the fuck you didn't?
Right, I'm out of here.
Girl, I was out, and I met my partner 4 days later. Like, because I was like, I am done. I don't let any of these cobwebs stop me from moving forward.
Yeah.
I only dated him for a couple of months. It was one of those.
Yeah.
But I had to look and say, whoa, if you have this many issues with me, then there is I'm not changing who I am to fit into your mold.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Speaking of, this is a great segue. Remember Shake?
Oh, of course.
Right? How could you forget?
How could you forget?
He compares Deep D to his aunt. So this is from season 2 of Love is Blind. Shake told a friend, I'm not physically attracted to her. Man, it feels like I'm with my aunt or something. Is attraction something that can grow with time?
Absolutely, attraction grew with time, but not with that asshole. He objectified her. She was no longer a person. It wasn't about who she was. This wasn't about her heart and her soul. This was, can I carry her on my shoulders at a concert? And it's like he was doing that from ego. That came from a place of, I'm trying to bring her down because I don't feel she fits my ideals. Versus saying, it's the difference. I feel like a friend. I feel like I'm dating my friend, or like you're so much like my brother. This is kind of, there's one thing.
Yeah.
He did this out of, well, you don't fit what I might need you to look like. And so I'm going to me.
Yeah, I also feel like there's a level of self-hate, if we're going to be honest.
Sense.
Because there's a difference between like preference and you're not my type and I want somebody that's blonde and, whatever. But she looks like my aunt. What's wrong with your aunt? Because I'm sure you look like your aunt. You know what I mean? Like, just say she's not your preference. And instead of being like this, I'm not attracted to people that look like me, act like me, and come from where I come from. And now you're going to rip her down because she's proud of who she is.
100%.
Just say that. Don't make it weird.
She was so out of his league. It was like miles away. I'm like, I'm sorry, you little frat boy, DJ, fucking party boy who hasn't grown up, and you have a woman. You have a woman in front of you who is a dime that's top of the line. This is a catch. And your response to her is, she looks like my aunt. It's like, wow, you're trying to find any ick that you could possibly get to avoid taking any accountability or ownership of your part in this dynamic. I know.
I'm moving on. Okay. So
he doesn't deserve any more airtime.
Yeah, enough of that. So Ramses, remember him?
Oh, of course.
I like to watch your face after I say your name. He tells Marissa her energy is too much for him, okay? So this is from season 7, and you actually also talked about this moment in one of your videos. You said this was the epitome of two people that have no compatibility truly, and they don't actually align with their morals or ethics, and they're just trying to make it work when realistically it isn't enough.
It was so obvious that Ramses was not accepting Marissa for who she was. He wanted, first of all, I cannot change my career past. I can't change what I believe in. And it was so obvious that he was coming off this like moral high horse of like, well, I believe all of these things. How do you not? And then getting turned off when she's a human, when she says she can't be intimate because the poor thing is suffering, when she is going through real human experiences. Your energy is a little much for me. And it just really shows his emotional immaturity, to be honest, because he couldn't handle anything that she was going through. And when someone tells this is too much for me, what they're saying is, I can't handle my own shit, let alone will I be able to handle yours. My heart broke in 1,000 pieces. And all I wanted was, I was like, girl, run. Oh, please. I promise you. And I swear to you, when you're with somebody that loves you, you being sick or you saying no is never going to get them to be turned off by you. You want somebody that will care, who's going to help me hold the tissue for me, not who's going to throw it at my face and upset with me that I need it.
Yeah. That was a tough watch.
It's a tough one.
Because it's like from the minute she was introduced on the screen, she was a light. Like she didn't stop smiling. She was just gleaming and hopeful. And then you just watch day by day, week by week, him just diminishing her. Like literally tearing her apart in front of us.
And having her question her reality, having her question her worth, having her question, even when her friends were like, we were all in the military. Like, you're just sitting here. And again, you have this moral high ground. Well, I don't believe in it. And it's like, that's great. You don't have to. What the fuck are you doing here?
Don't build me up to break me down. Leave. You should have never, we shouldn't have got here in the first place.
Because he chased the idea of her. He liked the idea of who she was, this beautiful, bubbly light, but he didn't like what that meant for him. Yeah. Because here's the thing, when you have a beautiful, bubbly light, what does that mean? Are you going to get overshadowed?
Right.
And his ego could not handle that.
Yeah. Oof. Irina, remember Irina?
I remember Irina.
I love the eye rolls. Like certain names trigger an actual like physical response for you.
I told you I love this show so much.
I love it. Okay, so Irina forgot Zach's birthday until she saw Bliss, his beautiful current wife, and competition at the time, making him cupcakes, okay? So this was from season 4, just to refresh everybody's memory. Zach's birthday came up during the pods phase of the show. Bliss was making him cupcakes, and Irina came up to her and asked if she could have one of her candles, as she had forgot his birthday. And Bliss was like, nah, duh, because why? And she didn't give her one. First of all, is that a red flag that someone doesn't remember your birthday and that you're an afterthought?
I would say the hard thing is that it was while they were there, right? Like, it's one thing if I tell you that my birthday's May 2nd, and I tell you that in January, and then May rolls around and you forget. Okay, well, I'm not it took me like 9 months to remember I kept being like, I'm sorry, what was it, June? Okay, June 12th, right? Yeah. You're a human. The issue I had was the only reason she cared was because of Bliss. There was no remorse. She didn't feel bad. There wasn't a like, oh my God, I can't believe it. It was, oh, there's competition. Wait, you're going to look better than me. There was no giving a shit about that it was his missed birthday. And I think that's the issue.
Yeah.
If you don't care that it's somebody's missed birthday and you're doing that out of ego, that's a problem with me. Versus, I'm so sorry, that was my bad. Like, I missed my best friend's birthday once and I called her crying. Because I forgot the day. And she was like, dude, it's fine. You're good. That's a very big difference then. Well, your best friend was doing something and that's out of ego. That's because I want to seem better. That's not actually like, that shows me I never liked Irina. That's why I rolled my eyes, because none of it came from authenticity. It came from her performing.
Yeah. And then watching Bliss do that with love, like literally so much love in her heart. And then she's going to come over and say, can I have a candle? What was your professional opinion while watching Irina, Zach, and the Bliss drama? Did you know right away that Bliss was better suited for Zach?
I definitely saw Bliss was better suited. I'll be honest. I thought at first when they went back, like when Bliss went with, what's his name? not Blaze. I don't know why I was going to say that.
Blaze.
I don't know where Blaze came from when Bliss went back to Zach.
Yeah.
I was happy, but at the same time, I was concerned. Now that they're together and they're happy and they're married, I'm like, oh, okay, good. This worked out. But at the time, I was worried that she was settling. I was worried that she was watering herself down for somebody who didn't see her value off the beginning. But I'm also cognizant of, given the circumstances of the show, that happens. He did rectify that really quick. And I was just so happy because she is such a she's such a prize. She's such a gem that she deserves only the best. And Irina, bye-bye. Girl, bye. I'm sorry. She was mean girl energy.
Yeah.
That wasn't girl's girl. That wasn't somebody who was there for heart. That was, I want to look better and I'm going to do everything I can to. And you ask you asked for a candle. But yes, I think Blaze is a much better Blaze. Can I talk? I think Bliss is a much better option for Zach because she's just more in line with what it is that he deserves.
Yeah. And time has shown that that's where
2 kids?
One.
One. Okay. I thought they
one
had 2
baby
kids.
girl, Galileo.
And they're so cute. Every time you see them, it makes you like, okay, sometimes you can fumble and figure this out. But it would be a difference, I think, if you had done it after the end, right? If you had gone to the altar being like, oh my God, Bliss was the one for me.
Yeah, timing was everything.
He figured that out really quick.
Yeah. Okay. Do you stand by the statement that love isn't enough?
100%.
Yeah.
I wish it was. And we've been sold a false bill of good. If love was enough, then the world would be a different place.
Love is not enough. Love is not even close to being enough.
Love
is vital.
Love is vital.
But it's not enough.
We need comprehension. We need bandwidth. We need compatibility. We need conflict and resolution. Does that person attune to my needs? Do they understand me? Do they have the tools in order to do so? It means so much more than do they love me. I love a lot of things. That doesn't mean I'm going to fuck them. You know what I mean?
There's the title of the episode.
A memoir.
A memoir. I actually really like it.
It might as well be.
No, because it's true. It's not enough. And we are sold a fairy tale from very young. Like it's plastered on TV and romance and Disney Channel, that true love. What about some true understanding? What about some true commitment? What about true conversations? Like we're not sold on that enough.
No, because nobody talks about like what happened to happily ever after. It's like, oh, Cinderella and the prince. It's like, you had to date a guy that didn't know your face and only knew your shoe size and you're wondering what okay, did he have an alcohol problem after, right? Like, did they talk about Beauty and the Beast? Like, was that Stockholm Syndrome? Did the Beast change or was he abusive after that? We don't talk about.
We don't have, the after.
What's after?
Yeah.
So we're sold this like they're gonna save me.
Yeah.
And no, baby, you're gonna save yourself.
Yep.
And you learn that, I learned that. That's why we're here, is because nobody's coming to get you.
You know what I want to talk about?
Please.
Because let me put my cards down. You know, when I put the cards down, we got to chat. So now that I'm in like a very public facing relationship, the comments that I'm seeing a lot are, I don't know, this is a new age term. It's may this love kidnap me. May a love like this run me over. Like, no, like
some trauma.
No,
You're
like
are you
literally,
okay?
like I'll post a picture of like Ollie and I, and it'll be like, may a love like this scoop me up and drive me off a bridge. And I'm like, I think the way that we have put relationships, especially public-facing relationships, on these pedestals are so scary. Because not saying that Ollie and I are beating each other up behind the scenes at all, by any means, but I want to tell the world that like, this love is work.
Yes.
This is work. This is not the Cinderella story where it cuts off and you just make believe however you want it to end. Like, we are in it. And I just want, from your perspective, how are you seeing people that are idolizing these relationships, that they want it to kidnap them? What is your opinion on that?
God, even just saying it, kidnap, you're like, so someone's coming to get you, right? Like
Literally.
in it of what we're talking about, I get the same stuff, right? Of like, oh, well, you're like, well, you were pretty. You didn't have to work. And it's like, I'm sorry. What?
Relationship goals.
Right. Yeah. And you're like, so, and the funny thing is, whenever I do authentic videos of like, here's how my partner who's avoidant shut down and here's how I called him out, I'll get people of like, wow, how toxic. You should just run. And I'm like, so here's the thing. What we're seeing and what I see a lot and what you're describing is that a relationship has to be easy. It has to be fun. It has to be Insta-worthy. But the second you're a human and the second you have an issue and the second you have an opinion, get fucked.
Yeah.
And it's like, no. Part of a relationship means that your partner's going to trigger the hell out of you. My partner said no to me once. That's fine, right? On paper, but not to me. It was DEFCON 1 and I got triggered and I shut down and then I had to breathe and talk to him about it. And this poor guy's looking at me like I have 7 heads because I said, I don't like the way you said no.
Right.
That's a relationship.
Right.
A relationship isn't, and I think that I want to be kidnapped. I want to be this. It's like, so what I'm hearing is you want big emotions. I need to feel high highs and low lows.
And it needs to be perfect.
If it's not perfect, and that perfectionism is because then what I hear is, oh, so you don't trust yourself that you'll be able to figure this out.
Right. And it's also like the pressure to post us being happy. And then it's like, well, we don't see the behind the scenes. All we see is you happy. You're happy. Use your imagination. Be an adult. You know what I mean? Like maybe be an adult. Don't assume that things are perfect. Like when people are like, oh, like Michelle, I'm so happy that Michelle Obama is on her like podcast tour right now because the way she's like saying it's not easy. It's not easy.
Speaking truth.
Where it's like me growing up watching that relationship, I'm like, wow, like I want to be like Michelle Obama. Like she has a beautiful relationship. She is the first lady. She's got 2 beautiful children. She's making it look easy. And as women, we make it look easy. And then you get into these relationships and you're like, Michelle Obama didn't say anything about it being hard. She didn't say anything about a divorce.
Yeah, she never talked to me about when he snaps at me at night after I took something off the table.
Right. And now she's coming out and she's like, this shit is hard. It's not easy. We work every single day. And I'm just like, I want to get to a position where I'm just like, it's not easy. I love it. It's tough, but we're in it and we're committed. And I think people are seeing Instagram and TikTok as relationship goals. And it's like, everybody's relationship and their goals are different. And I just want to encourage people to let your relationship goals not be a 30-second clip of us giggling on Instagram.
Say, what happened to the 23 hours and 59 minutes outside of that 30-second clip? What we don't see, that's like why I hate the like love should be easy. It should be this. What that is unrealistic expectations. Then no wonder when the minute something happens, like, I don't know,
they're
the
like,
person
we knew
says,
it.
Yeah, like, because then you get the, I can't do this. And they leave and you're like, here's the thing. You could do all the healing that you want alone. As single as you are, heal all day. There is no healing that will prep you for when you get into a relationship because once you get into the relationship, you're triggered. This person's saying things to you. You can't get away from them. They fart really smelly. They're snoring at night. All of those things that after a while, you're like, I'm gonna fucking punch you. You can't run from that. And what it is like part of the healing journey isn't that we make all of those emotions go away. It's that we learn how to live with them and we learn how to communicate them.
And you're not jumping to the next high
and
the next high because that bliss fades
so quickly.
It's not like you now go into the darkness, but like you can't keep jumping from high to high to high. You need to sit with that person in the lows.
No. If you're jumping towards that high, then I would say, is that your childhood all over again? Is that familiar? That you're like, I have to earn love. It can't be consistent because that can be really scary. That's why healthy equals boring to a lot of people. Right? Oh, well, what do you mean I told you that this bothered me? You validated my emotion? It's like, yeah, I know your parents never did that. And that's okay. But that doesn't mean that this is a problem.
Love that. Okay, let's have a little game time.
Look, back to the cards.
Back to the cards because I just had to get that off my chest.
100%.
Like relationship goals, like curate your own relationship goals.
100%.
And be okay with that.
Know your needs. Understand what it is, not what you want. I don't give a fuck what you want. Frankly speaking, what I care about is what do I need? For me, I need someone that makes me lunch because I forget to eat. That's showing me love. I don't need you to go and buy me a bunch of stuff. That's how my dad showed me love. No, thank you. What do I need to feel secure, to feel seen, heard, and understood, and to feel safe and start to understand how does that feel in my body?
I love that.
You'll never know it unless you understand it.
Yeah, go through it. You have to go through it.
100%.
Okay. Thank you for that. Game time?
Let's go.
Okay, red flag or green flag. This is one of my favorite games. But this one, I feel like it's a little bit more PG than what I would normally do. Okay, so I'm going to list out some relationship behaviors, and you're going to just tell me if it's a red flag or green flag. Okay. Number 1, they've never been in a serious relationship before.
Okay, so here's my thing. I'm in the nuance queen where I'm like, well, okay, yellow flag, right? Because I would say the red flag comes into it depending on the reasoning. If it's because, I don't know, all girls are crazy and I just can't find someone, that's the red flag. Versus, I, being self-aware, for years I ran away from intimacy and that was really scary for me. And now I really want to come closer to it and I feel like I'm ready. I can't tell you how many clients I have that are terrified to admit that they've never been in a relationship and it's not because they're bad people. They just genuinely didn't know how to show up. So I think it's important to ask a little bit more. So I'm going to go yellow flag because it's red depending on your answer and it could be green depending on your answer.
I'm going red.
You're going red, okay.
Yeah, at this big age.
I was gonna say
you're
that
not
also,
gonna experiment on me. I'm sorry.
No.
Go get in one and then come back and chat with me. Like you're not, when you're somebody's first serious relationship, that I've
Depends on
been
the age.
there. I've been there at this age, yeah.
I was
At
in your
this age.
20s.
In your 20s,
Fine. 30s, that's when I'd have to be like, I have questions.
Yeah.
So I'm with you
Yeah.
on that.
do you take life serious at this point?
Yes, and it's like, and how seriously are you taking yourself?
That part.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're not about to play in my face.
I love those on Hinge of like, I want a woman that doesn't take herself too seriously. I'm like,
not
oh,
me.
Get that. Yeah, I'm like, I'm sorry, I take myself really seriously.
I take this really serious because this is all I have.
Yeah.
So
And when I close my eyes and that's it,
yeah,
it. So
that's it. Okay. They say my ex is crazy within the first 10 minutes of meeting them.
the ultimate red flag.
Big red flag.
Biggest one. It's waving in our face because I said my ex did that. All of his exes were crazy. And I remember being like, but I'm not.
I'm not crazy.
I'm not her. And I was like, don't worry. I was added to that list very quickly after the breakup. Yes, you will. They don't take accountability.
Yeah.
They're projecting, they're deflecting. That's usually, I'm never going to diagnose people, oh, that's a narcissist, but it's narcissistic tendencies to say that.
Yeah. My question after that is, what'd you do to make her crazy?
Exactly. What was your part?
What'd you do?
Yeah.
Why is she crazy? Because she wasn't crazy when you dated her for that first year and a half.
Yeah. What does that say about you?
So what'd you do?
Yeah.
And why are they all crazy?
And that's a common denominator being
Red flag.
you.
Right. Red flag. Okay. They still sleep with a childhood stuffed animal.
Ugh. I mean, it's concerning. I don't know that it would be enough of a red flag to be like to break it off with them.
Yeah.
But I would definitely be, I would say we're leaning more towards a red flag because I would need to ask like, how old are you that you still need
What is the
that?
trauma
Where's
behind that?
exactly?
Yeah.
What's the story?
And where is it on the bed?
Yeah.
Is it in the middle?
Is it like,
Am I now responsible for cuddling it?
yeah, do I have to cuddle it with you?
Are we
That can get awkward. Does it watch when we're, there's a lot of questions I have.
just a teddy bear?
It just sits
Looking
there as
at
like,
you.
the audience. Does she rate us after? Like, what's happening here?
Has she been in the bed with everyone? There's so many questions. Red
Has
flag.
she been washed since then?
A red flag. What are
I'm
we
going to go
doing?
red flag. Yeah, it's a little creepy.
Okay. Talks about their therapist on the first date.
Red flag.
Mm.
The only reason I say that is because it's performative,
Yep.
right? Like if I'm naturally being like, oh yeah, actually I did learn that in therapy. If you're like, oh wait, do you go to therapy? It's normal to naturally, but so many people, especially nowadays, especially dudes, know that women want to hear, I'm in therapy.
Yeah.
And it's like when you're talking about your therapist, it's like, I'm sorry, can I learn about you and
Right.
not your therapist?
Right.
I'd love to
not
get to
your
that
homework.
later.
Can you not do your homework on me right now?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, because it just feels like you're telling me what it is that I want to
Yeah.
hear, not actually, because my thing would be like, cool, what about you?
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about your therapist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going red flag.
Red flag for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm good.
I'm
good.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm good. Like I want to stumble upon that information.
Right.
I want to oh yeah, I can't call you today at 3 because I have therapy.
Exactly.
I love that.
Exactly.
I love that.
Or like if you're talking about how'd your last relationship end of like, yeah, and I got into therapy after, if you're like, okay, that's fair.
Casual.
Move on.
Yeah, casual.
I'm with you.
Yeah. Okay, good. We're aligned. Okay. They tell you they love you, but don't want to define the relationship.
Oh, get fucked. That is such a red flag. I'm sorry. What is you love me enough, but you don't want to commit to me? It's like, so I'm good,
Yeah.
good but not great.
Yeah.
I
Red
know.
flag.
Red flag.
You don't love me. You can't give me a title. You don't love me.
No, you don't love me enough to not love yourself more.
Right.
That's the problem.
I like that.
Yeah. No, thank
Yeah.
you.
Red flag.
Red flag.
Okay. They need alone time to recharge, even in a relationship.
That to me is not a red flag at all. I think
Yeah.
that's a very normal green flag. Now, again, caveat. This is where nuance comes in. What does that look like?
Mm-hmm.
My partner, I recharge alone. I fucking hate people. I mean, I like them, but I don't. I like dogs a lot more.
I'll just go.
I say, see you later. But like, you know what I mean? Like being in
Yeah.
groups, I'm like, oh, I need to be
It's a
alone.
lot, yeah.
It's a lot. And so I
Yeah.
think it's so human for someone to be like, I need the night. I
Yeah.
need the night. I need to watch my movie. I need to watch my trash. I need to be alone. I
Mm-hmm.
want to smoke a joint and be on the couch and do my thing. But where does that come into play? Is that every time you get into an argument, they need space. Every time you come to them with something real, they need space. That's avoidance. That's them constantly putting space so that intimacy doesn't come into play versus, babe, you and I just spent 3 days together. I'm going to go home and I will see you tomorrow.
Yep.
Let them have it.
Yeah. Agreed.
What do you think? I was going to say, do you think?
Yeah, green flag. I'm such a recharger as well. I need to go watch Housewives without you breathing on my neck. Give me a second. Like let me miss you. Let
Yeah.
me have a moment.
Yeah.
But again, the same thing. Like are we avoiding or are we recharging?
Right.
And I think that's where.
That's a biggie because
Caveat,
it's like
yeah.
otherwise then codependency and
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
need to, I want you, I don't need you.
Yeah.
And that's a big difference.
Yep. Love that. Aligned. Okay. As someone who is newly engaged, can you leave me with your top relationship advice for anyone else out there that's navigating a partnership?
Absolutely. Don't ever stop dating your partner.
Mm.
Like, please don't ever, because those are the moments that you fall in love with each other again. Life gets mundane. And you're like, my sister's been married for 20 years. She's been with her partner since they were in high school, which is nauseating, and still together and still in love. And the only thing that she's ever told me is like, don't stop communicating. Once you stop talking, you stop having a relationship. Make sure you're comprehending that communication. And keep dating each other. Keep reminding yourself why you fell in love with Ollie, why Ollie fell in love with you. Every time, make a date night every week. Have a moment of, I'm going to fall back in love with you, because then we get so humdrum. And then if you want kids, and all of a sudden, next thing we know, we turn around and we've completely lost sight of why you guys connected to begin with. That would be, don't ever stop falling in love with each other every single day.
I love that. I love that, because he's also big on date nights, and I'm such a homebody, and he's just like, should we just go get drinks? I'm like, yeah, like it takes everything in me to like do it, but I know how healthy and important it is for the relationship. So
you're like, we get drinks in the living room. And like, even something that my partner and I do is once a month we do a surprise date. And so one person is responsible for a surprise date. And then every week, like you guys are new into town, we have a new restaurant we're going to try every week. That's our date night. It takes the pressure off, that at least you get excited. Because when you're with your partner and you see them every day, it's this different than when you first started and you're like, oh, did they text me? Oh my God, I can't wait to go out and see them. Bring that back, because that's what's going to keep the joy alive in a relationship.
Love that. I really love that. That's great advice. I hope we can all take a bit from that. I've taken so much from this conversation. I loved having you here. And I think that what you're doing for the reality TV space is pretty helpful.
Thanks, man.
We need the truth.
Trying.
We need to get you on the show.
God, girl.
Put her in the lounge.
Please don't. Oh my God. I'll just be the voice. I'll be like the cone, like Lana that comes on as like, hello, datas. Like, I'm happy to.
Just so you know, he said that to 7 other people.
Exactly. Yeah. He's fucking lying. But seriously, all kidding aside, is like, you did such an incredible job, and you were so inspiring to watch, not because of how it worked, right? It didn't work out for you, and that was what was meant to happen. But you learned, you grew, you evolved, and now you have the love that you deserve, and that's all you can fucking control.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, because it's not an easy space to navigate. It's not easy to navigate love. It's not easy to do it in front of everyone on TV with all the judgments and the criticism. And you just like it can make or break you. And I can't help but say that the show made me into this better person, because I needed that experience. I needed to see that. I needed to feel that pain, because now I'm in one of the happiest relationships I've ever been in.
Pain into purpose is one of the most beautiful things that we could do. So thank you for being an inspiration.
Thank you. And thank you for being here today. I'm sure our paths will cross again. I'm sure they will.
I hope so.
Is your podcast still?
Yeah. The Sabrina Zohar Show.
Okay, so I can come on yours.
Yeah. Oh my God. We'll
Me
talk
and
offline.
Ollie.
We'll talk. Yes, and yes. Okay, done. We'll talk offline.
Okay. Well, thank you again. This was lovely. You're amazing. I love your advice and I love your perspective. And thank you guys for listening to another episode of What's the Reality. Be sure to follow us on all social platforms at What's the Reality Pod. Subscribe on YouTube, and I'll see you next week.
What's the reality? What's the reality?